Will the House come to order? Mr. Clerk?
Aloha and good afternoon. Today's invocation will be delivered by Representative Justin H. Woodson. Will the members who wish to participate please rise?
Please stay seated. I had the opportunity to leave the Capitol earlier the other day, and I was thankful for that opportunity. The session has been long and interesting, to say the least. And so I took that chance to go run errands. One of the things I had to do was to go to the post office. And so as I arrived at the post office, I noticed that the line was long. It was flowing out the door. But I was thankful to have a chance to go pick up a package that was there for some time in a jeopardy of going back to the sender. And so as I stood in that line, about 5 minutes went by, and I went from the heat of the sun to the coolness of the lobby. And about 2 minutes later, there was a woman. She was older. She stood behind me. Her clothes were worn. Her skin was leathery. Her hair was slightly tattered. And 2 minutes thereafter, she attempted to engage in conversation with me and the person in front of me. To which point, I just listened. I did not engage. And they were speaking about how the line was so long, how there were several windows there, but only 2 attendees. And they didn't understand why the other workers were not helping. 2 minutes went by. They stopped talking. She then turned her attention to me. She squared her shoulders, looked me in the eye, and she said, "I wonder if you could help me." And at that point, I had to decide, am I going to help this person or say, no, I cannot? So I said, how may I help you? What can I help you with? And she went on to share her current trials and tribulations. And after 3 minutes of her sharing her story, I broke my concentration. I broke my eye contact. And I looked towards the front of the line. I was still nodding my head, listening to her, but I was ready to get my package. 4 minutes went by, and finally, I got to the front. At that point, I cut her off, and I said, I think you should talk to Congressman Ed Case. He can help you with this. And I left. Then I went to the front. The attendee saw in my body language that I was ready to go. She got my package, and she came back. And in that moment, my spirit was disturbed. And I said to myself, Justin, why are you here in this space? Why are you here on this island away from your family, if not to help people? So I then found the older woman with the worn clothes, the tattered hair, and the wrinkly skin. And I said, here's my card. Please let us know how we can help you. Call our office. She did not know who I was. She thanked me, and then I went off to run my other errands. I share that story because I believe that everyone in this building has that same heart, that servant's heart. We're here because we want to help. We want to better our communities. We want to better our family situation. We want to make our country stronger. So the hour is late. Everyone is tired and frustrated. But just know that what you do has impact. And I just wanted to say thank you to everyone in this building. And I wanted to say especially thank you to my colleagues here that are sitting in these elected seats, I appreciate you. I appreciate the integrity of a Scott Nishimoto. I appreciate the wisdom of a Scott Psyche. I appreciate the intellect of Adela Abalati. I appreciate the kindness of a Gene Ward. I appreciate the quiet brilliance of a Mark Hashem. Thank you all for what you do. May God bless you, and may God bless your families. Aloha.
Thank you, Representative Woodson. Item 1. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Ayu, Mr. Alcos, Ms. Amato, Ms. Bellotti, Mr. Chun, Ms. Cochran, Mr. Evslin, Mr. Ganadin, Mr. Garcia, Mr. Garrett, Mr. Gates, Mr. Hashem, Mr. Hashimoto, Mr. Holt, Ms. Hussey Burdick, Ms. Ichiyama, Ms. Kahaloa, Ms. Capella, Mr. Kila, Ms. Kitagawa, Mr. Kobayashi, Mr. Kong, Ms. Lachika, Ms. Lamasao, Ms. Lowen, Ms. Martin, Ms. Martinez, Mr. Matayoshi, Ms. Matsumoto, Mr. Mizuno, Ms. Morikawa, Ms. Nakamura, Mr. Nakashima, Mr. Nishimoto, Mr. Onishi, Ms. Peruso, Mr. Pirrick,
Excuse.
Ms. Poe Poe, Mr. Quinlan, Mr. Saiki, Mr. Sayama, Ms. Souza, Mr. Takayama, Ms. Takenouchi, Mr. Tam, Mr. Tarnas, Mr. Todd,
Excuse.
Mr. Ward, Mr. Woodson, Mr. Yamashita, Mr. Speaker.
Present.
Mr. Speaker, 49 members are present, 2 are excused.
Item 2, reading of the journal. Representative Morikawa.
Mr. Speaker, may this matter be deferred.
So ordered. Item 3, Mr. Clerk, are there any messages from the governor?
Mr. Speaker, there are none.
Item 4, Mr. Clerk, are there any Senate communications?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, if you and the members will turn your attention to the addendum to today's order of the day. We are in receipt of a communication informing the House that the Senate has disagreed to the amendments proposed by the House to the noted Senate bills. We are in further receipt of communications returning the noted House bills, all having passed third reading in the Senate.
Representative Nakamura.
Mr. Speaker, I move to disagree to the amendments made by the Senate to the House bills returned to the House with Senate drafts.
Representative Morikawa.
Mr. Speaker, I second the motion.
Any discussions? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say no. The motion is carried. Members, introductions. Representative Kahaloa.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to welcome the County of Hawaii's Fire Chief, Kazuo Todd. Welcome to your House of Representatives, and he's the older brother of our representative from Hilo.
Representative Morikawa.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have relatives all the way from New Jersey, and I would like their names to be put in the journal, please.
So ordered.
Thank you. Visiting today are Larry and Kelly McNair. If you could stand up. Their son Brody wasn't feeling well. Braden is here. Braden, if you could stand. And then daughter Hannah with her friend Andrew Clark. Welcome to Hawaii's House of Representatives.
Representative Amato.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It is with pleasure that I welcome a constituent today and a friend who has helped my office draft important healthcare legislation. A Kihei Maui resident, a retired engineer, and an esteemed member of my elite brain trust. Keith Kessler, please stand. And with him, 2 friends, Tony Monaco and Louis Monaco. We care about education in this house. Tony is a 3rd grade special education teacher in the Bronx, and Louis is a 10th grade student at the renowned Bronx High School of Science. Also, please rise is my esteemed, fantastic office manager, Dr. Joe Ritter. A renowned interdisciplinary scientist, I am honored to have him as my staff member. We work very closely hand in hand, and it's excellent to have him here in the House of Representatives today. He is an astrophysicist, that's not an astrologer, let me be clear. So when we say it's not rocket scientist, sometimes it actually is rocket science. Welcome to your House of Representatives.
Representative Mizuno.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's my honor to recognize the 25th Annual Legislative Massage Awareness Day at the State Capitol today. Their theme is sharing healthy benefits of massage. They're here today they were here at 10 a.m. They're going to be here till 1 p.m. It's a complimentary massage, but if you would like to donate, all proceeds go to the Hawaii Food Bank. If I can recognize these outstanding members from the American Massage Therapy Association Hawaii chapter, the chairperson, Gwen DeLuz Correa. Can you please stand and stay standing? Let's hold our applause till I get this fine delegation up together. We've got the chapter president, Livia Nagashima. Please stand. Thank you. And Dustin Ibesu. Members, can we give them a warm welcome from the House of Representatives? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Representative Ichiyama.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm very happy in the gallery today to host two Salt Lake constituents. If Mr. Rick and Miss Lucy Ashley could please stand, and colleagues, if we could welcome them to their house. Thank you.
With no further introductions, members, we're going to move on to item 5, unfinished business. Representative Morikawa.
Mr. Speaker, I move to suspend the rules of the House in order to consider a certain Senate bill for third reading by consent calendar.
Representative Garcia.
Mr. Speaker, I second the motion.
Any questions? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say no. The motion is carried. Representative Nakamura.
Mr. Speaker, I move that Senate Bill number 47, House Draft 2, as listed on page 1, pass third reading.
Representative Morikawa.
Mr. Speaker, I second the motion.
Any discussion on SB 47? Representative Garcia.
In opposition?
Proceed.
Mr. Speaker, this bill will rearrange candidate names on ballots in the name of equity. I firmly believe that this will confuse the voters of Hawaii and will certainly add doubt and skepticism to the election process. We've been voting for this in this country for the last 247 years, in this state for the last 64 years, and it's always been alphabetical and it's worked. There's no need to change what's worked for decades. The passage of this bill will only add more technology to our already overly complicated electric voting system. No vote.
Representative Matsumoto.
Reservations, please.
So ordered. Representative Morikawa for the vote.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On the measure before us, all majority members vote aye.
Representative Garcia.
On the measure before us, all minority members vote aye with the exception of Rep. Alcos and Garcia.
Have all votes been cast? Said Senate bills pass third reading. Item 6, members, are there any announcements? Representative Kahaloa.
Mahalo, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, your Committee on Agriculture and Food Systems requests a waiver of the 48-hour advance notice requirement for the purpose of conducting a public hearing with decision-making to follow on the following Senate concurrent resolutions. SCR 46, requesting the Department of Agriculture to convene a feral chicken game mammal working group to find, solicit, and distribute grants for the control of feral game mammals. SCR 92, requesting DLNR, DOH, and the City and County of Honolulu and the County of Hawaii to collaborate to establish and implement a 5-year pilot program to mitigate and control the significant increase in the population of feral chickens, roosters, and pigs. Please bear with me. SCR 109, urging the Department of Ag to designate Kunia, Lelehua Plateau, and Poa Moho as the Central Oahu Agricultural Corridor, and to establish a list of prioritizing potential agriculture infrastructure improvement projects that would provide the most value to the state. SCR 110, urging the University of Hawaii West Oahu to establish baccalaureate degree programs in ag technology, food science, and education. And finally, SCR 138 requesting the Department of Ag to examine organic pesticides for authorized use in the state.
So ordered.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The public hearing will be held on April 13th, 2023 at 1 p.m. in Conference Room 312.
Representative Ganadin.
Try to be brief. Mr. Speaker, many of us are excited tomorrow for Art at the Capitol Day. It's going to start at 4:30 p.m. and go to 7 p.m. There's many people to thank. I'll try to be quick. We need to thank the governor and lieutenant governor for participating for the first time. Many of you participating members, we'd like to get most of you by next year. We have, for people who are volunteering and staffers, free parking at Iolani Palace. As many of you know, 1% of the building fund here in the state of Hawaii goes towards the purchase of contemporary art. That means the state is the repository for some of the finest examples of Hawaiian and local art. We have an opportunity to work amongst beauty here in this building, Mr. Speaker. And this is an opportunity to share that beauty with the public. I'd like to thank my staff, Sophia Salas, Kelly Dinwiddie Kala, the Chair of Culture and the Arts and International Affairs, for his support in allowing us to develop this programming. It's much bigger this year. Inclusive of the offices that are open, we have an artist reception starting in the Capitol Rotunda at 4:30 p.m., an invocation by Poet Laureate Brandy Nalani McDougall, self-guided tours. If you don't want to talk to anybody, you can just go watch a movie. We have the Hawaii International Film Festival showing shorts, and many of the filmmakers will be here in the Senate chambers. Here in the House chamber, and this is much thanks to our Sergeant at Arms, we're going to be showing some videos from Mark Hamasaki and Kapulani Landgraf. They are artists and UH art professors. They're going to be showing some of the protests and images from H3 from the last several decades. From 5:30 to 6 p.m., we have Ballet Hawaii. A few dozen young people are going to be performing right here in the Rotunda. After that, we have Hawaii Honolulu Theater for Youth. Upstairs in the Lieutenant Governor's office, we have a performance from Professor John Osorio and his family, a family of dedicated public servants. After the event ends, we have a panel discussion at 6 p.m. in room 325, and after the event ends, it's jazz night right across the street at Hi Sam. Thank you all for participating. For those of you that didn't, we hope that you can join us next year. There's going to be free pizza delivered to all of your offices, and checked in with Sergeant at Arms. You can use your funds to purchase food for anybody who comes by your office and your staff, so don't be stingy. Thanks.
Representative Takayama.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd just like to thank members and their staffs for being so generous in donating to our YWCA Dress for Success drive. I've never been happier to see my office cluttered with your items than I am now. But just a reminder that tomorrow afternoon our drive ends. So if you have any remaining items you'd like to donate, please bring them to room 404 and we will happily accept them. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
With no further announcements, Representative Morikawa.
Mr. Speaker, I move that this House stand adjourned until 12 o'clock noon tomorrow.
Representative Garcia.
Mr. Speaker, I second the motion.
All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say no. The motion is carried. The House stands adjourned until 12 noon tomorrow.